All right, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I'm here with Marissa Christina from Still. Marissa started the company and makes organizational goods, primarily targeting women. And we're going to talk about product development here today. So we got lots of good questions for her today. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
So what is Still? Tell us about your brand that you started.
So Still is it's an organization company, like you mentioned, but what we really focus on is not just the product itself, obviously like organizing women, having something that allows you to track your tasks and your to-do lists and your schedule and all those things, but really kind of building more of a community aspect around what that product does for you and being able to connect with other women that may be struggling with the same thing. I find that our community is very, very kind of good when it comes to feedback, whether that's negative or positive. They love sharing that with each other. They love sharing that with me and obviously like our team. So it's really kind of become an amazing community of women that enjoy sharing each other's like worlds. So it's fun.
I heard someone recently say the difference between a community and an audience is like an audience doesn't communicate back to you, right? They kind of just observe you. So when you say community, you're obviously, and you're clearly referring to the fact that they're communicating to you what they like or don't like about your products, which really does make them a community. And they're talking to each other, I guess.
Exactly.
How important is that?
I mean, it's incredibly important, especially if we plan on continuing to sell to them, you know, in terms of when it comes to new products, new things that we want to create. They are the people we want to go to ask questions and to ask, you know, what's working and what's not working. Right. Hey, we made this planner that you paid money for. Do you like it?
So do you do that on social media?
Yeah, a ton of that every day. I do. I personally do Instagram stories almost daily. I don't as much anymore because I have a lot of other things on my plate as well. But I do try to do at least one or two kind of like almost asking them questions, asking them for feedback, doing polls, posting about new things that we're doing. It depends on the time of year, too. Like around Christmas time, we are really heavily focused on obviously like selling product. Yeah. But then when we get into like the slower months, I really want to hear from people like, you know, what are you enjoying? What are you not enjoying? What are you missing? Are you feeling motivated? Are you feeling productive? Right. Like, if not, how can we help you change that? How can we help you feel better? And like, what tool is missing in your life that may help you kind of get back on track? Because everyone sets goals in January, and then come March, it's kind of like, you know what? I tried.
Guilty.
So yeah, it's incredibly helpful to have that tool.
So, when you are, you know, you're in your slower season, I would imagine during that time you're kind of developing products for the next big sale season, which maybe is coming up to the new year. Are you designing products based on what your consumers are telling you they want from social media?
Yeah, actually quite a bit of product has come out of basically that. So we launched a productivity planner. I guess it's been almost 2 years now. It's our Get It Done planner that we sell. It's quarterly. It's the only quarterly product that we sell, so it expires every 3 months. But it's heavily focused on productivity and heavily focused on setting goals, not just once a year, but 4 times a year. Because I find that not everyone operates the same way, too. We have so many different types of customers that enjoy planning in so many different ways. Yeah. So it's really difficult to kind of make sure that you have something for everyone. Yeah. But this productivity planner was something that we kept kind of hearing from people, like, do you have something that's shorter, something that's like a little bit more easy to, you know, tackle? Like, what if I'm not a planner person? What if I'm a digital planner, but I'd like to try planning on paper? Do you have something that's not 12 months long that if I'm buying it, I don't use it, I feel bad and I feel like I wasted my money? So our Get It Done planner really came out of a focus for productivity, so allowing them to set up their quarter in a way that was, you know, rituals, maybe like different types of important sort of milestones that were coming up in the next 3 months, goal setting. So we have 3 different goals, and I usually get people to focus on one health, one financial, and then one kind of like work related goal. And then it allows you to actually track that every single week.
Yeah.
So once you go through your week, you track your productivity, you make sure you're staying on top of your rituals that you set out for yourself. And then at the end of the week, you get a recap of like, hey, did I actually do those things?
Yeah.
If not, how can I do it better next week?
Right.
You know, where did I fall short? And I think people really enjoy sort of like the hand-holding aspect of not just being like, here's a planner, enjoy.
Right.
But more so like, here are all the tools so that you know you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
So in the product development process, you have leveraged social media to figure out, you know, what you could sell next or how to redesign a product or something like that. And is that, you kind of referenced the fact that you kind of launched a product based on that. Do you also change the design based on feedback as well?
Yeah. So what I usually do, our most popular planner every year is our annual planner. So right now, currently, that's our 2021 planner.
Yeah.
We sell more units of that than we do anything else that we will produce.
Yeah.
Other than our planner stickers. Those are our biggest selling product that we sell.
Planner stickers?
Yeah, that we sell all year long.
Okay.
Oh, we sell like thousands and thousands of them. It's,
really?
It's ridiculous. Yeah. They're adult stickers. I mean, who doesn't love stickers?
Yeah, right, I guess.
But every year I try to kind of like refresh the design so that, because it's a planner that sits on your desk for 12 months. So when it comes time to renew that planner, and we have about 70% of people that end up rebuying.
Yeah.
Wow. You want to make sure that you have something fresh that they have for their desk that's sitting with them, right? So in usually around June or July, before the new year, I put out 4 different cover designs, sometimes 6, and I get people to vote. Cool. I get people to vote, we'll get them to comment, we'll get them to submit other colors that we may not have considered.
Yeah.
Yellow has been a big theme in the last couple of months. People really wanted to have like a yellow planner, happy color.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we get people to vote, and then we get people to vote again, and then we get them to vote again until we actually have a final version of something that we think they're actually going to want.
Right.
And this year we had huge success. So we usually do a black and then a color version.
Yeah.
And the color version basically outshined the black cover by far.
Wow.
Yeah, which is unusual because black has always kind of like been more of a basic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And so do you think people are more interested to buy the product because they've had input? They're
100%.
like invested into it?
100%. Because we do get emails from people saying like, I'm so stoked that I got to be a part of this. Like I picked that color. Like that's so cool.
Yeah.
You know?
So, okay, that's great. So consumer involvement helps you sell the product.
Yeah, it's like they're invested from a very, very early point on.
Yeah.
And then when it actually comes out, they're like, oh yeah, that's the one that I wanted. Like, obviously I'm going to get that, you know? So yeah, it's fun.
Okay, what about the people who voted for something else? Do you ever hear from them like, oh, I'm not buying it, I didn't vote for that? Or I don't know, that may be a bit extreme, but do you know, what about those people?
I haven't had anyone say that. But I mean, usually we have like one that's like a bit more of a generic version. So like if you don't like the other version, you can always kind of default to the black one, which I think ends up happening to a lot of people anyway, because, you know, black is just like a basic color. It doesn't get as dirty as quickly, like all of those things. So
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this idea of network externalities. And so I'm just going to quickly like explain just for the viewers right now what that is. So if something has a positive network externality, that is meaning that the more people that do it, the better the experience is. And it has a negative network externality, the more people that do it, the poorer the experience. So like when you go hiking, you probably don't want to hike with a ton of people, so it has a negative network externality. The more people that are on Facebook, the better the experience is, because you have more friends that use it or something like that. So in your business, does this have any effect on the success of people buying your product?
Like without fail, 100%. A lot of our, actually this goes back to our advertising strategy. What we use is we use video testimonials from customers that use the product. And we try to basically bring as many testimonials together in one video to kind of show like the different types of women that use it. You know, we have moms, we have school teachers, we have female entrepreneurs, we have accountants, we have, you know, retail specialists, like whoever kind of like you can think of is using this planner, and they're each kind of using it in a different way, but they're using the same product. And there's like ways that I guess people can share with each other, like how they're using the product, and it might spark an idea in the other person's mind of like, oh, like I never thought about using like my weekly calendar as a meal planner, for example, because by default it would just be your weekly schedule, right, that you would put in. But certain people use it for like a daily mantra, or like a meal planner, or they'll put in like a memory from today, right? So you could use it through so many different kind of like ways. So the more people that use it, the more you get to kind of like understand the depths of the product, and also learn from other people that are using it in a different way.
So we would say then your product has a positive network externality.
Correct.
And so has your growth been primarily related to like solid Google AdWords, or I don't know, marketing on social channels, or organic growth on your Instagram page? Like, how has this happened for you?
So it's actually been mostly organic. We didn't start running ads until we usually run ads like around Christmas anyway. But we now are a bit more active on ads like consistently than we have been in the last couple of years. On social media, on Instagram mostly. But before then, it was organic growth. And I'm no hashtag expert. It was mostly just like the fact that I was on there every single day of my life for the last almost 10 years that I've dedicated to growing our business, to growing our customer base, and obviously like our following. So it feels like sometimes I go back in like the archives of like stuff that I used to post like 4 or 5 years ago. It's like bizarre, but you know, you like,
are you cringing when you see it?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. I was in my mid-20s back then, and like it's just a different, you know, I think everyone is a little bit self-critical, but it's wonderful to see that we've really been able to grow in such like a platonic way, like the way Instagram wants you to grow. Like we didn't spend a lot of money or any money really on advertising until now. So it's been pretty sweet.
So if I were to take all the cultures in the world and categorize them by organizational ability, I would say that the Swiss are the most organized group of people in the world. And just before the interview, you told me that you were born in Switzerland.
Yes.
So is there a connection with the culture in which you come from and the fact that you are an expert in getting people organized?
Yeah, definitely. I grew up like in a very interesting, very strict, very well organized, very clean, very much on time. I was 15 minutes early today. That's not by mistake. It's like my internal Swiss clock is always telling me to be a little bit early because it's so offensive to people to be late in Switzerland. So yeah, absolutely. I am.
Great.
It's very connected to my internal network.
I appreciate that. My mom is German, and so this clock runs deep in me as well, and I appreciate the fact that you were early today. And because I hate it when people are late. It drives me crazy, and I hate being late.
Well, it's one of those things that, like, you can avoid it so easily.
I know, right?
So I never understand the reasoning why you have to be late. So if I'm ever late, you know something actually happened.
It's like a legit thing that happened.
Yeah, like I got in a car accident or something else happened, but yeah, it's just, like, ingrained in me that I don't enjoy being late. It gives me anxiety.
That's good. Okay, so how or when can social media be an effective tool for stimulating demand for maybe a new product that you're launching during that early part of the launching phase?
Yeah, so it can be really tricky because especially if you're introducing something that maybe the audience hasn't seen before.
Yeah, like a new product line.
Mm-hmm. So for example, this has been on my mind for about 2 years, but this year I decided it was a good time to do it. We wanted to do swag. Just because everyone was at home. It's nice to have like a cozy sweater. But it was a really tricky kind of situation because, first of all, we've never dealt with sizing before. Like, I've never really had to deal with sizing because we do accessories, basically. Figuring out, you know, what made sense in terms of, like, what colors do we do and what messaging do we want to have. And so we did do a ton of like reaching out on Instagram of just different types of polls of like, what do you want your sweater to say? Or like, what don't you want it to say? What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? Do you want it to be baggy? Do you want it to be tighter? These are all things that we don't have to deal with when it comes to books, right? Because they just are. They have sizes, but it doesn't apply to you necessarily. And then the other thing is, you know, once the person actually receives the product, is it the way that they thought it was going to be. Because when you're looking at a planner on a website, you know what you're going to get.
Sure.
But when you receive a piece of clothing, fit is a huge thing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of learning lessons that I've learned in the last couple of months when it comes to clothing, and then also having to kind of approach it a little bit differently in terms of the way that we launch it. So we did a pre-order actually to see if it would even work, if we even got people to order it. And people did. A lot of people would order. We did a t-shirt and a sweater. A lot of people ordered both. And we had success with it, but it was nowhere near as successful as any of our planners that we've ever launched.
Really?
Not even close.
So why do you think that is?
I think in part it's because that people come to us for organizational goods.
Yeah.
And I feel like the brand enthusiasts, the VIP customers, the people who buy everything anyway, will buy the swag.
Sure.
But everyone else is there for a planner. Everyone new that's coming in is there for a planner. And they're not, especially if they're new, they don't know as much about the community yet as some of the people that have been there for a while.
Right.
So for those like diehards that have been with me since 2014, like, yeah, they're obviously going to buy my t-shirt because they have everything else that I sell.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I think it makes a little bit of a difference.
So did social media and the polling and the stuff that you're doing on Instagram, did it give you any indication of what the demand was going to be? Mm-hmm. Was it right?
It was fairly accurate. Yeah. It was, because I kind of actually went back and referenced like how many people voted on this, how many people voted yes versus no.
Yeah.
And in our pre-order phase, we actually did, I would say it was like a 60% accurate, 60 to 70% accurate.
Yeah.
So
would you use that technique again to launch another product, a new product line? Definitely.
I would never not use social media to launch a product.
Right.
Because
well, that's interesting.
There have been, I wouldn't go without it. So we get so much feedback, and like the type of customer that we have is so verbal about like, you know, the product that we get like paragraphs for people like send me paragraphs of like reasons why we should or shouldn't do something. So
so you have a really responsive audience. Is that because they love your brand, or is that because of the target you have, because of who you're?
It's A-types.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's people who are very A-type personality that.
So they're opinionated.
They like routine.
They're decisive.
Yes, decisive.
Okay.
They are, they like having things the way that they like them to be, right? So
they also could be a nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, our customer support is pretty fun sometimes. I had to like actively kind of remove myself a little bit, because sometimes I get personal attacks from people, and I take it very personally, even though I shouldn't. Yeah. But when you're reading something that someone's saying about your brand and how they feel that you're just completely incapable or whatever it is, it can be really hurtful.
Right. That's brutal.
So it's not, I mean, it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen every once in a while. Yeah. I had someone tell me once that I ruined their Christmas, so anyway.
I mean, at least it wasn't their wedding anniversary or something.
True. Christmas comes every year.
Or their birthday or their wedding day. At least you didn't ruin a wedding day.
Well, that would be, that would be much, much worse.
Well, I found this conversation super insightful. I really appreciate you spending the time with me here today. I think this is really good to understand like how much social media can impact the success of your business, and how you can leverage some of these tools to make like strategic business decisions.
Yeah, and I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has too. I mean, you know where to find me on social media.
We'll put your Instagram tag your Instagram handle on the screen so that people can message you.
Sweet.
And hopefully they don't say anything mean to you.
That's okay. I've literally heard the absolute worst, so there's nothing anyone can say to me now that surprises me.
That's good. Thanks for being with me today, Marissa.
Thank you.
Thanks.